California skin restoration specialist. Today I'm going to talk to you about a patient that I worked on for his scars. You can see this patient, he's Fitzpatrick 6, and we did quite a bit of work really to break up his scars and actually lift them up with Subcision. So I kind of want to show you this and walk you through the process here. I'll wait a few more moments for more people to join us tonight. But it's really nice, really great case, really wonderful patient. Comes all the way from New Orleans, and found me because he was pretty tired of doing treatments that just weren't working at all, and knew that I had worked a lot with skin of color and helped out a lot with those with patients like himself. And you can see the significant improvement. This was after 2 sessions over here. We did 1 session with Subcision, TCA Cross, and Bellafill. And then subsequently later on, we ended up doing more Bellafill for the patient, a little bit more TCA Cross. You can see really nice improvement already. Of course, we still have some more work to do, but it's really nice, especially in a patient with this skin tone. A lot of people would say that you can't really do much for your scars and just sort of turn you away. But there's clearly a lot of improvement, and there's a way to improve these scars. So I'll kind of walk you through this case. I'll wait for a few more people to come on and really work on it. Hi, Sailor Moon. I had a little bit of technical issues earlier, so I'm glad I came on now, and you guys are still able to join me at a little bit later time right now. Hi, Coco. How's it going? Thanks for joining me a little bit later tonight. I finally got this portion set up here, and we were able to see a really great result with this patient, and it's a fun process actually to really see a patient coming all the way from New Orleans who tried so many different things, and you can see this is under 2 sessions that significant improvement. Hi Wawa, how's it going? Thank you so much for popping in too. Let me know if you guys have any questions about this or want me to walk you through it. But I'm happy to answer more things here. So so Sailor Moon's asking, what treatments did we do? So for this patient, what we ended up doing is something called Tailor Liberator Subcision. He really did have very deep, thick scars, and it took a lot of work actually to break it up. I did it under a single session for him. I really remember actually his skin very well, because it was very thick in a certain part of his cheek where we felt like, actually you could see where that big indentation is. That took like a lot of work. I kept on working with blunt cannula Subcision, and I knew it just wasn't budging enough. So then I switched over to Tailor Liberator, and it worked really well. So you can see really, again, that improvement of that skin. And actually there's going to be even better improvement over time. This is a pretty early result still, but because it's Subcision, and like essentially these are rolling scars that were pulled down, and I effectively broke up those scars, and we put some volume in there, you can see results relatively fast here for this patient. Do you specialize in keloid treatments? Yeah, I did a really great case of keloids today. I do a lot with keloids. Actually, I typically try to do pretty conservative for a lot of patients with keloids, because I find that sometimes, for certain patients, if you use certain energy devices, they could potentially make keloids worse. So you have to really make sure that you know what you're doing. You're using the right wavelength, the right laser. Personally, I really love, for laser purposes for keloids, is the XLV. That's what I usually use. There's a few other options, but especially for patients with more color, XLV tends to be a little bit better for patients. Sabrina is saying volume, you put filler. So I actually put Bellafill. So Bellafill is not exactly a filler. It's more of a collagen stimulating product. So it's really nice because it stimulates your own body's natural collagen. It's made out of cow collagen, and then it's going to stimulate your body's natural collagen. And essentially over time, it gets better and better. And that's really nice. So it's like, I've talked to him before, but like if he's happy right now, he's going to get, a lot more satisfaction over time as he sees that his skin quality continues to improve. Let's see here, like Radius. So Radius is a great product also. He could have potentially been somebody I would do Radius onto, or even Sculptra. He has opted for more of like a long-term, more permanent solution with volume, and Bellafill is really the longest lasting option that we could do. And then again, it's really nice because it just continues to make collagen production. So I do all those. I'm really just a fan of just biostimulatory products, things that are going to stimulate your own body's natural collagen. And that's really the name of the game when we're talking about scars, when we're talking about, even for people that as they get older, older, they want to make it so it's a little bit tighter, their skin quality is a lot better. We could do that with things that stimulate collagen production. T-Chin is saying, hi doc, I booked my acne scar treatment with you. Awesome, T-Chin. So I'm guessing baby came. Congratulations if that's the case. I'm guessing that's the case because you're waiting for after that. Let's see, where am I located? I'm located over in Newport Beach, California, just like 5 minutes away from the airport there. Am I live at 9:30? No, actually, I just had a really problematic technical issue with TikTok. It just wasn't authorizing my account for a while, so I had to kind of go through a whole series of things to jump a few hoops to get it there. But I always just keep on working at things, and I'll keep on working at it, keep on working until I get it done. So we got it there. Let's see here. Jay Omer is saying, I have bad acne. What is the chance of me having acne scars? Well, if it's cystic acne, really get that under control. You have a few different options now, so really make sure. I think at this point we really have to make sure that you don't get scarring. So talk to somebody to get it really tackled pretty fast. By the way, hi, how are you doing, Miriam? Hope you're doing well. By the way, thanks for coming on. Let's see here. Kayla is saying, what can I do at home to help with these types of acne scars? So this patient, he did multiple microneedling sessions. I think he also did with PRP too. Nothing really helped with it, and he was doing it with a professional. Just didn't actually, solve any of his scars. He said it hardly made any improvement for his scars. Things that actually worked, I knew that these were really deep, thick, really thick scars, rolling scars, and we needed to do proper subcision for him, and that's what really worked out for him. This is subcision under a single session. People will say you have to do multiple sessions of subcision. You don't have to do multiple sessions. I do it really properly, really thoroughly, and I do believe in placing some volume when there's volume deficit. In this case, you can actually see that huge fat loss right there in the center of his cheek, and so that really needed to be important to improve. So we opted for Bellafill for him. So this was not with, by the way, any lasers or any devices. He was somebody with his skin type. I was feeling like it wasn't really going to be necessary, and he wasn't going to have too much texture issues, I felt afterwards. And it's really, really incredible at this point. So it's like, I don't think I'm really going to be using any energy devices in him in the future. But TCA Cross helped though. That helped actually quite a bit with his boxcar scars and ice pick scars. And then Bellafill. Bellafill worked really well. Let's see here. Mini is saying, what's the best treatment you would suggest with microneedling besides PRP? Good question. Actually, what I do a lot with microneedling is actually we could microneedle calcium, like Radiesse inside the skin, or we could do Sculptra. Actually, it works really, really well. It's something I think really underutilized. It works really well for that. It's going to continue to make that skin quality glow and get better. T-Chan is saying, not yet, but very soon. I was worried you might be booked out, so I booked a date in January. We are pretty booked out, actually, so I appreciate you so much for coming in, though. We'll see you soon whenever baby comes, and it'll be exciting. We'll work on your skin. Let's see here. Harry's is saying, I have a different type of scar. Yeah, I do all types of scars. I do traumatic scars, I do acne scars, I do ice pick scars. Also every type of acne scar that's out there. It doesn't matter. Keloid scars, I do everything. Miriam is saying, do the fillers migrate when placed superficially on the surface for scarring? If it's hyaluronic acid filler, then it could. Yeah, it's possible that hyaluronic acid filler could migrate. And I actually had a patient today. She got it done over in Korea. And, I actually thought maybe it was scar tissue because it was so raised over there. And she said, no, it's actually all just from the filler. And so the filler basically missed all the scarred areas. And you see a whole chunks of filler outside of there. And it looks like it's really thick. And we'll have to probably dissolve that at some point. So I wouldn't really recommend doing filler like hyaluronic acid filler, especially also if you haven't done subcision. Some patients, you do need to really make sure you do subcision. Like in this case, if we did just some filler, it actually wouldn't stay in the spot that we want to. It may actually look like it's lumpy and just not aesthetically pleasing over time. Let's see here. How would you fix a saucer scar? So it depends on what size, what depth it is, what's your skin type. You kind of have to figure out what it is. But sometimes with something like that, you would potentially want to do an excision and then sort of just use a laser around the edges that are softened out. But I have to see really what's going on there. Let's see. I know I missed a few questions there, so I'll try to hit there. So Fraxel repair or Morpheus 8 for younger, tightening looking skin. I'm 23 and use Tazerac daily. So Morpheus 8 is okay for skin tightening. It's a great option for that. If you want to use more for skin tightening, I think that's a good idea. But if you want really like a fresher glow, then some sort of laser Fraxel is good. I personally really love, especially for like younger patients, I usually use more of like an erbium laser, or looks like it's amazing, less downtime, just like really, really nice, refresh the face, like just like in a matter of a few weeks. You just love it actually. Minnie saying, any type of laser would you suggest for someone with acne scars but has skin type from Middle Eastern? So yeah, we could definitely solve that. It depends on what's happening. And you do even, if this patient really had more severe scars, I could have even used certain lasers on this patient. And I opted really because it was more just rolling scars, just to do more of that Subcision and Bellafill for him. And I really just do only what's necessary for patients. So if you don't need it, I won't do it. So if you're Middle Eastern and it's like, it ends up being that it's not appropriate to do laser on you, then I won't do it. But if it is appropriate and I'll do it safely, and I do a lot, about 85% of our patients are darker skin types, Fitzpatrick 4 and above. So, and maybe that number is kind of creeping up a little bit higher. I'll probably check at the end of this year to see where I think those numbers are really from last year. And I think that this year, maybe even a little bit higher actually. And so I'll take a look and see, but it's, it's something I do a ton of. And I have a great track record of making sure that really for all of our patients, we don't have long-term pigmentation issues. So really, really nice actually. So we could be able to solve these pigmentation issues if they do arise, but we typically just really prep your skin beforehand and then do certain things afterwards to ensure that you really can get a really safe healing process there. Wawa is saying, is erbium laser safe for South Asian skin? It depends on how you do it. The way I do it is really a lot lighter than a lot of other practices. I combine a lot of different things, so I don't have to overheat, bulk heat the skin. If there's certain spots that we have to go a little bit stronger, I'll do it for like focal spots like that. But you don't actually have to bulk heat the skin, so I don't do it that way. So Oki saying, in a year too long to see scarage creams to completely fade an acne scar. Well, I don't really ever find that there's much improvement with scar creams. Sometimes silicone tape could work, but scar creams I never really found to be too helpful. Maybe you could put a little bit of tretinoin, put some moisturizer on, and put silicone tape on there. But a scar cream is not going to help much really at all for scars. And like I said, this patient's done so many things. Tae-chan is saying, can you explain the preparation again? 4 weeks of pigmentation cream twice a day and stop all actives. No, so the prep that we typically do is going to be 2 to 4 weeks before you do the laser, and it's just at nighttime. And initially, there's going to be some exfoliant that's a little bit irritating for the first couple of weeks, and that's okay. When you come into the laser, it's okay to be exfoliated. It's actually better for us. And then afterwards, now you can really moisturize a ton while you're using it for another 6 months or so. Hi, Joey. How's it going? Got a little bit later tonight, popped on a little bit late tonight, so glad you guys were able to still join us. Sydney's saying CO2 laser. So no, this was not with CO2 laser. This was actually just with Subcision and Bellafill TCA Cross. That's all this was for this patient. Let's see here. BBK saying, is it possible for people with rolling boxcar scars to ever achieve flawless skin? Nobody has flawless skin. It's not true that somebody could have flawless skin. Anyways, just like everybody has some pores, everybody has some texture, every single person has it. And, it's not realistic or practical to assume that you're going to be able to achieve flawless skin. But that being said, we could get pretty close to it for some patients. Like, it depends on how deep the scars are and how old the scars are, how you are also with your diet, with your exercise, things like that all factor in there. Genetics, all those things can play a role there. Wawa saying, can we book an appointment with you without a consult? I want to come see you from New York. Why would you not want to do a consult with me? Because I could go through the game plan and kind of see everything there. But no, we definitely, for all these treatments, we definitely require a consultation. Certain things like if you're doing fillers, stuff like that, more like the med spa type of things, those ones you could book directly on the websites and then we could just be able to see you that day. But other things wise, all these type of things, we do want to go through a whole discussion and do a consultation there. Let's see here. Anthony is saying, thoughts on the ordinary blood mask. I never heard of that actually. I'll take a look. It's called the ordinary blood mask. I'm not sure what that is. Let's see here. Sana is saying, I'm waiting till I move back to SoCal this year for CO2. I'm so excited. Awesome, Sana. I look forward to seeing you too, actually. I see Cody saying, Here you go. Eat real food, change the gut, and your whole skin will be good. So the truth is that it does matter. I think diet does play a big role when it comes to acne. I do talk a lot about patients for that, and also just that recovery process afterwards. But certainly it's not going to solve scars like that. It's not going to change anything with scars like that. I did a lot of work to actually break up that scar tissue. It took a long time to actually do it. And it's, not going to change really with diet or exercise or anything like that. Let's see here. While I was saying I didn't know about the virtual was an option. Yeah, a lot of our patients do virtual. Tons of our patients, actually, most of our patients from out of state actually for scars. And so we do a lot of virtual consultations. It's like pretty much exactly what I expect when people come into. Like I'll tell you kind of what type of scar you have. I'll zoom in on each individual scar that you have and showcase really how I would treat those individual scars. And each of these scars really can take a little bit of different approach, depending on your skin type, depending on the type of scar, and just how much downtime you're willing to do. What's the cost for this? I have to take a look offhand. It's probably most patients for something like this, is going to be about $3,000 to $5,000 on average. But he did have more volume loss, so then it could go really close to $5,000 to $7,000 there. So it just depends on how much volume loss there is, destruction, and what we have to do with that. But there, most of our prices are on our website for that. But everybody's different. Sometimes for men, it really is that there's very, very thick scars. It takes a lot more work for me to be able to break that up. But you can see it's really effective. Do it properly, and I do it properly every single day. I do multiple patients every day, and I work at it and keep on doing it, and we can get that lifted up really well. Let's see here. How many TCA cross sessions are needed for old ice pick scars? It depends on how deep it is. I've had patients that it's not too deep. It could be 3 or 4, but if it's really deep, it could take like 8 sometimes. It's really like a slow process too. Ultimately, it also, it works, but it's just a lot slower than people expect sometimes. Chino's saying, I've been trying tretinoin and I haven't seen much progress. Would you recommend hopping on Accutane? Well, if you really have essentially too much, if you really do have cystic acne, then you really should do something like that. Potentially Accutane is an idea. Do something for that cystic acne. So that we use the Cure laser as well. We do a lot of different options, but definitely if your tretinoin is not working out, do something for your cystic acne so you don't get scars like that. I really want you to do that. Harris is saying 7K is way too much, doc, when we need subsequent treatments. So the way we do things is that I do a combination session, which takes a lot of my work, and I do an excellent job with it. And I try to get it so that these kind of results are really consistent over and over and over again. I had a lot of follow-ups today, and really it's like really consistent. And I pride myself on how amount of work it takes. There's a lot involved with like staffing. There's a lot involved with the aftercare. There's a lot involved with all those things. And I am the only person that I know of that does subsequent treatments after you do that combination session, really with like TCA Cross and laser. That is going to be up to 55% off for you. So there you go. So you were talking about subsequent treatments. It's not going to be $7,000 each treatment, really. So it's like I did an amazing job, like this patient, for that single session. And I do that because I want the patients come from all over the country and all over the world, really. And I really, really, really want to make sure that they don't have to just keep on coming back and forth if it's not necessary. And so I'll do everything I need to do to lift up the scars the proper way, do it safely for patients, and we can achieve that. So there's a lot involved with that to do that. And then I know though that like in the future, you likely are going to need some things like, for example, more TCA Cross for ice pick scars, potentially more laser, things like that. And now it's likely it's not going to be as difficult for me. I don't have to do as much work. And so then, yes, it's more than involved for the first session, but future sessions, I really make really up to 55% off on that. That one session is $7,000. No, this was 2 sessions for this patient, and so after that session, it's probably close to about $7,000. So the total for both of those there. And it was more with the first session was with Taylor Liberator Subcision, with TCA Cross, with Bellafill, and then we needed to do some more Bellafill for him. And now you can see really a significant improvement. This is a patient all the way from New Orleans. Really, really amazing gentleman, really, really nice. It's fun to see really like his process and his progress. He's done so many microneedling sessions. He said nobody knows how to treat my skin, and they were all scared to treat my skin. And here you have it. And really, it didn't require lasers. I think that maybe I could polish it off a little bit with lasers potentially. He's someone who's like, was concerned with some more pigmentation issues for more downtime like that. And the result for him is great at this point. So he doesn't really feel like he probably needs to do much of that. If I were to do anything more, I'd probably just do a little bit more volume, a little bit more of that Bellafill in some select spots. And, I think that's probably all he would need. Should microneedling be done immediately after TCA Cross? I wouldn't recommend microneedling after TCA Cross. I do think that there's probably a chance of more scar widening with that. So I wouldn't recommend that. Let's see, what did I miss? I know I missed a few things here, so I'm going to kind of scroll back here. How to treat the skin of the goose without a laser? I'm concerned with what that question is. Can you talk about pricing? So yes, most patients for scars spend about $5,000 to $7,000 to treat their scars. Most people. Nurin John is saying, can you show more before and after photos? Yeah, I show it every day. Pretty much. I show a lot of before and afters. Take a look at our page too. This is a brand new result. We haven't even showed this on our page yet. We'll show it at some point, but my team is working a lot to put out a lot of cool content and like just show that whole process too. A part of this is also just showing the journey and showing the process. And it's awesome. I love it. I think that like the things that we're showcasing is just like that journey for people. Like I want people to kind of see that there's so many people who suffer from scars. There's so many things that they have to do sometimes to work on it. And it's like we should just really sort of appreciate people that they tried to improve themselves and they succeeded at it, but like we have to sort of just like recognize that people put like a lot of like there's a huge emotional toll sometimes for patients as they go through this process, because it's like they've sometimes, like this particular patient did so many microneedling sessions and nothing worked. And then flying in all the way from New Orleans, trusting that I'm going to give him an excellent result. It's like I take that responsibility super seriously. I'll tell you that. Like it's super important for me just to do it properly every single time I'm doing it. And like it's like I love doing it. It's like really fun because it's like I could do it, and why not? Why not just improve people's confidence and make them feel better about themselves? My patient today, one of them I followed up with, she was like on the verge of tears, saying that like she's like only 1 month out actually. And, her scars were really severe, but like, because there was a lot of thickness around there, I did smooth down so much of that thickness. And she's just like, it's like, I'm just more comfortable and confident in my skin already. And she was like on the verge of tears, just explaining that, how she like couldn't cover things up with makeup. And now it's like, she doesn't need much makeup. It's like, it's so nice actually for her skin already. And it's amazing to be able to have that, that's like her life. She gets to keep that. That's a pretty cool thing to be able to have, that we were able to achieve for patients who, she came all the way from like Central California, and they come from all over the place that have really struggled with their scars and have tried so many different things for their scars. And it's like, now we come to it. We've come to the end of the journey. It's really, really nice to feel that way. Really, really nice. Let's see. Is this from Appeal? No, this is actually from Taylor Liberator Subcision, TCA Cross, and some Bellafill. Bellafill is a collagen-based product. It works really, really well as a volumizer. I've talked about it before over here, but I full of Bellafill, and I love it. Actually, it's a really, really beautiful product. Like over time, it just got better and better for me, which is awesome. Anthony Adams is saying, "What technique did you use here, brother? That's my exact skin." Well, yeah, so I appreciate the question, actually. So this was actually something called Taylor Liberator Subcision, where we used more of a sharp tool to actually break up the scar tissue underneath there, these bonds that were pulling down the skin. So if you look at that central area where it's a bit depressed over there, so there's some volume loss there, and there's scar tethering over there. And so I really had to go inside there and actually manually break up that scar tissue. So I went in there and first used blunt cannula subcision. I tried my best to see if I could release it with blunt cannula subcision, but it was really stuck. I anticipated it was going to be stuck, but it was actually kind of more stuck than I thought. And so then I ended up using the Taylor Liberator subcision. I just kept on focused. I just kept on breaking it up. I just kept on going at it, and we were able to achieve that result. So that was what I did, and I also applied some Bellafill injections there as well. So yeah, the estimate for this procedure, most patients for the scars spend about $5,000 to $7,000 on the scars. Let's see. I know I missed some more questions here. Bear with me as I try to go through all those. And they're on a few different platforms. So just give me a moment as I do it. If I missed your question, don't feel bad. I will get to it. Just repeat it if you want to, and I'll try to get back to it there. Picky saying, how many sessions would you need for ice pick scars? Ice pick scars are very slow. It could take several sessions, like I was talking about earlier. Depends on your collagen response. Sometimes 3 to 4. Sometimes it could take almost up to 8. Sometimes it's just slower than people expect sometimes, but it works really well. Just do it. Keep on doing it. Patience. Do you take insurance? I was talking a lot about that yesterday, and I was just saying that really it would be amazing if scars were covered by insurance. Just like push it, do it, try what you could do with that. Try to really push scars and acne. I think the Cure laser, which works so well for acne, really should be covered by insurance as well. Hopefully down the line, that'll be something that happens. I just want it that's accessible for people. I don't want people to have these kind of scars over time. It's really, it's something like this affects people's self-esteem in a way that people without scars, people without those kind of conditions don't quite understand. They don't quite get the problem. But everybody has some sort of insecurities there. And there's like a sort of healthy balance with it. It shouldn't be like obsessive. It shouldn't be like concerning too much. But sometimes when you look at yourself, you're like, man, I wish I could just change a little bit more of this or something like that. And it's like, it's okay. It's like there's certain ways that we could probably play around with, but sometimes you may also think that it's more visible than it is. I've had patients with scars that aren't so severe. I have seen very severe cases. In fact, this patient, I wouldn't say is the most severe case at all by any means, even that week that I had, potentially even that day, I can't remember. And it's like, but to him, he had very, very severe, thick, deep scars, and was frustrated about the fact that nobody was able to treat these scars, and was really pretty much hopeless for a while, actually. And I think he came across me on these lives, or I can't remember exactly, but he saw that I do a lot with skin of color, and I work a lot with that, and so he felt comfortable enough to come all the way from New Orleans to come over here just to help work on his scars. And it's like it's a great honor to be able to do that. And we got this. We got this improved, and likely, I know he's far away, but I told him just a little bit more Bellafill at some point is the things that we will do just to top that off there. Appreciate you, Anthony, really do. Greetings from New York. Greetings from California. Let's see here. What is this treatment called? So this is called acne scar treatment. Basically what I did for this patient. Everybody's a little bit different. I don't really have like a set name for like things, because I don't really do like a cookie cutter approach. Like in this case, I didn't do lasers for this patient. I didn't think it was necessary. Actually, I'll tell you something actually. I know somebody who was working with with somebody who does a lot of this, and he like openly admitted that he throws in like certain procedures because you can't charge as much for like TCA Cross as you could for a laser or things like that. That's actually what he says. So kind of wild, actually. And unfortunate, let's imagine now a patient like this, we were able to achieve a beautiful result, and somebody that was unethical would have insisted on doing things that were potentially dangerous or unnecessary for this particular patient's skin. And that's real. That's a real life thing. It's a sad story. It's a sad situation. And these guys insist that you need thousands and thousands of dollars worth of skincare products to be able to achieve these results. And it's ludicrous. It's absolutely absurd. I do this with just one pigmentation cream. That's about the only thing that I need. And besides that, I just have you use a big tub of Vanity cream, some gentle cleanser if we need to, and then a lot of sunblock, just a ton of sunblock, and that's all we need to do. And so imagine that we're able to achieve these kind of results without expecting patients or requiring patients to be spending thousands of dollars worth of skincare. And the word on the street for so long, all these people were saying that in order to do anything with these kind of scars, in order to do this, blah, 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 you have to do like expensive skincare. You just have to do it. And it's just like this thing that they're just claiming it's like a must. Well, actually, no. It doesn't seem like it, right? Like it wasn't a must. Like we're able to do this, we're able to get this proper, and we got this approved. Hi Janine, how's it going? Good seeing you on. Thanks for joining us tonight. T Chan is saying, grateful I found you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate you guys. Charlie's saying, Dr. Salvador, iré a hacer una cita para hacerme el tratamiento para el acné. Awesome, Charlie. Look forward to seeing you really soon. So hopefully we'll see you this Saturday in Salvador. Okay, Tinaj is saying, is there anything I could do for flushing and the sunburn looking redness caused from my rosacea? Yeah, so I mean, of course, you try to do medical treatments. You try to basically make sure that things aren't triggering your rosacea, like spicy food, alcohol intake, all those things could potentially trigger your rosacea. And let's say you want to make sure that you're not using certain chemicals on your face. You know, I've had rosacea patients who are doing more harsh like exfoliants. You know, they do like glycolic acid or salicylic acid, even benzoyl peroxide, things like that. And it's a process that you really have to be very, very careful with the skin to ensure that you're not triggering rosacea. So typically it's very, very light chemicals on the face, and then something potentially if you need to, like XLV laser is what my go-to laser is. Some people swear by a few other lasers depending on your skin type. You know, that could be an option. If you're lighter skin type, maybe something like V-beam. I don't have that one. Also Derma V people talk about. Personally though, I love XLV. I talked to a dermatologist recently and he played around with the other devices. He said actually, you know, between these two, I actually do prefer XLV over the other one. So, you know, that was like unbiased opinion type of thing, just like that's what they preferred. How do you get your pores to look smaller? So tough, you know, you have to reduce oil production. So things like you could do like microdosing of microdosing of Accutane, so isotretinoin could be an idea. That may be an idea for you. But other things you could do is potentially like the Acure laser if you want to. Depends on how bad the pores are. And some people, they think they're pores and they're actually little tiny ice pick scars. So I have some videos of that on different platforms. You could take a look at those and maybe it'll help explain that a little bit better. T-Shine is saying, would you consider sulfur an active like salicylic acid, benzoyl peroxide? Not really an active, but it does dry up the skin a little bit. Just use moisturizer. But I like that actually. I prefer a lot more sulfur-based products actually myself. I like that actually for more acne-prone skin. And it just smells a little bit, but if you're okay with that, it works okay. Emily's saying, tips for PIE on Fitzpatrick 2 to 3. You know, I do think, especially Fitzpatrick 2 to 3, I do think azelaic acid is a good option. It's worth trying. Do that for like, you know, 10 to 15% of azelaic acid. Actually, likely is going to start clearing up like 3 months or so, but we may have to do other treatments, things like a vascular laser, like XLV potentially, things like that. Chantel is saying the TCA Cross has some risk for Hispanic skins, not just Hispanic skin, but for also African skin like this patient. I had a patient, I talked to you, I'm not sure which platform was on, but I was talking to a lot of people about this, but about the fact that there was a patient that I had who had severe burns from TCA done by a practitioner nearby. And, you know, it's not her first time burning people with TCA Cross. And so I'm fully aware of that, you know, and when I was starting like going down the acne scar route for my own skin, people said, no, we can't do TCA Cross in your skin. And it's just like, it's not worth it. It makes it worse, blah, blah, blah. And so I got kind of scared of it. I was thinking that maybe it's not great. And then I realized, just like it is with fillers, honestly, and just like it is with lasers, just like it is with Subcision, that there's a real way of doing this. And you could do it really effectively if you're fully concentrated and you're making sure you do it properly. We could do it. We prepare skin for it before we do patients of color, and it works incredibly well. Like we get incredible results over and over and over that way. It's just slower than people expect though. It is a really nice product, but it's just very slow. Shara is saying, hi doc, how many sessions of CO2 and laser is that? This is actually without laser in this case. This patient did not do laser here. With him, it was Subcision, Bellafill, TCA Cross. Let's see here. Can I use a towel to dry my face after skincare? Likely not. You probably wouldn't do that. You just kind of just let it absorb over there. Let's see here. Eric is saying, I have a weird looking bump on my frontal limb. Should I show my dermatologist? Yes, you should always see any new bumps. Go to your dermatologist to double check that. Let's see here. What's an estimated price for the procedures done on your patients shown on the screen? Most patients for scars are about $5,000 to $7,000. Depends how much volume loss there is. If it's just more mild volume loss, then maybe closer to that 5,000 mark, but a little bit more volume than closer to that 7,000. Let's see here. Shaista saying, hi doctor, does microneedling combined with a chemical peel help with acne scars? It depends if it's relatively superficial. Maybe it'll help a little bit, but not these kind of scars, that's for sure. It depends on like how deep it is. Nora is saying, hi, do you think EndoLift and CO2 combo will help with skin tightening and acne scars? I could see that happening. I could see that being a good combination actually for that. There's a bit of a risk though that sometimes what could end up happening is you could get a little bit of fat loss, fat destruction with something like endolift. Potentially, it could potentially melt fat. And so, when you have the scars, you want to be careful that you're not removing fat or destroying fat in certain areas, because otherwise you could get like the before photo right there where he lost a lot of fat and you can see that big indentation there. Nicole is saying, does Accutane get rid of ice pick scars? Good question. So actually for Accutane patients, also the Cure laser treatments, which basically works just like Accutane in shrinking the pores and shrinking the diameter of the scars. Really, there's a process over time where the scars, those ice pick scars, do appear a little bit more narrow. So it could help actually with that. And it also helps with pores too. Do we accept insurance? That's another question. Again, it's a question all the time that I ask. I would love for insurance to cover this. I really would. Hopefully, at some point they do it. And it'll be really nice. I would love for the day that people just don't have to suffer from, first of all, acne. I think first thing they have to tackle is really get insurance companies to tackle the appropriate acne treatments. Certain antibiotics aren't covered properly by insurance companies. Certain creams aren't covered properly. And really, really, really nice if we could push them to cover those things. And then, of course, scars. It shouldn't be considered just a cosmetic condition. Really affects people like in multiple different ways. And so it'd be really, really nice to tackle that as well. So hopefully we could do it. Best laser for acne scars. So it depends. If there's like really, really thick walls, then probably a CO2 laser, and then maybe blend it in with a fractionated laser. Let's see. I'm going to finish this pretty quickly here. Let's see what's soon here. Leo is saying, do you think there's hope for acne scars finding a real cure in the next 5 years? It's possible. Certain kinds of scar, I think maybe we could do that. Maybe we could do something where over the course of time, something like Verteporfin would be really cool if like a deep boxcar scar can improve with something like Verteporfin. And, after you do excision, it closes up and it's pretty close to scarless. That'd be cool. We're kind of, not there yet. And unfortunately, we haven't been able to push it just enough to be able to see it yet. I still need FDA clearance to be able to push it, but like, it'd be really cool if we could do that. If that'll be like a nice thing to be able to do. So maybe down the line, we could have that. But we get pretty close to it, honestly, with a lot of other stuff too. So it's like, let's see if we could get certain kinds of scars with that, that'd be really cool. Soul Matcha saying, is the 5 to 7 price you quoted for one treatment or multiple treatments? If so, how many? So the way we do this is that typically, like, we do a bigger combination session. This particular patient didn't do laser, but let's say he did do laser. It's really going to get closer to that $5,000 to $7,000 range, pretty much for that first session. And then subsequent sessions, especially when it comes to TCA Cross and laser, those are up to 55% off. So it's not like you do that every single time, $7,000. Nora is asking, what do you think about Rejuveron? So, it's actually interesting. I've been curious about it myself for scars. I haven't heard it's been amazing for scars. I wish it was. Haven't heard it's amazing. My patient today had done it 3 times. Didn't find it was effective for scars at all. I don't think it's going to be like too much of like this blockbuster filler for scars. It's not FDA approved over here, so which is why I don't use it over here. There's a bit of a concern anytime you're doing something with like DNA type of things, and it sort of makes me like kind of like really hope for that we really have nailed down the adverse events properly and ensured that there's nothing that's going to happen down the line because you injected these things. But assuming all those things are fine, it still doesn't seem like it's the best thing for scars. It seems like it's pretty mild, and I've talked to a few people and nobody's been wowed by it, to be honest with you. Nobody's been like saying this is like the thing that's solving scars for them. Tretinoin versus laser. Well, laser is like a totally different option for resurfacing there. So definitely, I would say lasers. But tretinoin, I've been on it since I was 16 years old. It's awesome too. Princess is saying, is there a possibility to get these kind of results without Botox or filler? No. I didn't mean to say it that way, but like no, because there's so much fat loss. You have to do something for the volume loss. There's no question about it that this patient had so much fat loss, and he would still have an indentation today if we didn't solve it with Bellafill. And Princess, why are you worried about filler? I think that's partly why we have to take a look and see. And why are you worried about filler with me? Let's take a look and see. Does a PicoShore laser help? Does a PicoShore laser help with acne scars? Do you use V-beam to treat red spots? Pico laser helps a little bit with acne scars. It'll help a little bit with that collagen stimulation. It'll help a little bit with the oil production there. The diameter of the scar can shrink a bit with the PicoSure, but it's definitely not my go-to even a little bit for acne scars. V-beam can work for red spots. It depends on your skin type. I tend to use for patients who are Fitzpatrick 4 and above, so typically like Asian patients, Hispanic patients, African patients even, I will use more XLV for that. Nora is saying, is Sculptra better? What do you recommend to fill the scars? I love Sculptra too. It's a great product. I like all of those options, but it depends on how deep the scars are, where they are, what the the location of the scars, what kind of scars, and we could take a look what the best possible option is. So if it's a really significant volume loss, Sculptra is a great option there. I love doing Sculptra actually. It's a really, really fun product. I do it down to the bone, stimulate collagen production that way, so it works out. Let's see here. Where are we? Wasn't there a study that filler grows and migrates? A study that it does. I haven't seen a study that filler grows and migrates before. Are you talking about like hyaluronic acid filler? Could potentially. Sometimes it could shift and get displaced. And as it does that, it basically could actually migrate and draw in water. So that's maybe what you're referring to. That could potentially draw in some water. I'm not sure what study you're referring to, but that's like I see that many times. The things with other fillers, like for example, Bellafill, for example, stimulates collagen production, but doesn't really just like continuously grow excess amount of collagen production if you do it in certain spots and really carefully the way you do it. So it depends on who you're going to. Honestly, it depends on how they're doing it. And I don't use hyaluronic acid filler really for scars really. So I don't really do it that way. All right, guys, I appreciate you guys so much. I went overboard because I had a little bit because I was had a little bit of technical issues earlier. But I'll be still back again tomorrow night, so I'll look forward to you tomorrow, and we'll go through everything. We'll go through everything of that. By the way, we will go through some more of your questions. So I know some people submitted some questions, but if you want to submit some more, feel free to do that, and we'll be happy to help you out with everything, and just kind of go through with answering these throughout the whole